It was in the waning splendor of Europe's Gilded Age, in that delicate interval before empires crumbled and crowns lost their weight, that a meeting took place, unassuming, fleeting, and yet profound in its quiet consequence. Two children drawn from the distant courts of Britain and Russia chanced to encounter one another beneath a German sun. One would grow into a man of empire. The other would vanish from the world before her womanhood had begun. The summer of 1910 unfolded with a serenity now inconceivable, a season of roses and regal music where fate lingered like a perfume in the air. The setting was Darmstadt, a German town dear to the European nobility, where the ruling houses of old still gathered in mutual affection and display. Among them was young Prince Louis of Battenberg, a boy of 10 years, earnest, reserved, and born to the expectations of dynasty. To his family he was Dicky. To posterity he would be Lord Louis Mountbatten. That afternoon, under the shade of linden trees and beside the splashing fountains, Louis found himself among foreign guests of great renown. The imperial family of Russia had arrived, and among them was the daughter of Tsar Nicholas II, the Grand Duchess Maria Nikolaevna, a girl of 11 years whose presence altered the course of his inward life forever. She appeared in a pale summer gown, her chestnut curls lit by the sun, her expression both innocent and regal. Her eyes, of the most improbable and arresting blue, met his across the garden, and in that instant, time, as it is known to children and men alike, appeared to falter. They were too young to be lovers. They were scarcely even friends. Yet something in her manner, at once gentle and unstudied, left a mark upon the boy that neither time nor the brutal march of history would succeed in effacing. She laughed as any young girl might, but to Louis it was a music singular in its grace. There was a softness to her, an absence of artifice, which to a child raised amid formality must have seemed like light through stained glass. Later in life, he would recall her with a disarming candor. "I was crackers about Marie. She was absolutely lovely." No letter ever passed between them. No private rendezvous disturbed the proprieties of their households. And yet what grew within him in those days was not mere infatuation, but the first stirring of that tender, aching admiration which never wholly departs from a man's soul. They were cousins by blood, as the tangled trees of European royalty would reveal. His mother, Princess Victoria of Hesse, was sister to Empress Alexandra, Maria's own mother. But such bonds, which once held courts together, would soon be the very cords torn apart by war. The years that followed extinguished all that garden innocence. The Great War descended with cruel impartiality. Thrones toppled, loyalties fractured, and in a small house in Ekaterinburg, in the bleakness of 1918, Maria, scarcely 19, was murdered alongside her family. Her beauty, her laughter, her life extinguished like a candle in the wind. By then, Louis was no longer the boy beneath the linden trees. He was a man forged by the sea and by duty, and yet upon hearing the news, something within him yielded, something not made for the harshness of statesmanship or steel. He married as one must. He fathered children and advised kings. He became Viceroy of India, an earl, a man of great consequence, and yet through all the pomp and the pain, he kept beside him a single photograph of Maria Nikolaevna. Her gaze preserved in stillness, her fate unknown to that captured moment. He spoke of her not with drama, but with a melancholy that is more enduring. Not as a lost love, but as something rarer, a vision of what the world might have been, had innocence not been so easily destroyed. For Louis, Maria was never replaced. She was not a figure of longing so much as a symbol of a vanished peace, of an age when honor still belonged to thrones, and of the brief time when he, a child still unshaped by history, had stood close enough to beauty to feel it bloom within him. And so finally at the age of 79, when at last he was gone, a quiet echo died with him. The final murmur of that summer, the last breath of a love that never dared speak its name. Yet some feelings outlast language. Some glances never fade. And if one stands still long enough in the memory of that golden garden, they may still see a boy watching a girl and a world not yet fallen.